Hello, Dale, your librarian here. I am the librarian liaison to the College of Social Work, and I'm here to give you a quick run through of what is citation style, what does APA citation style look like, how can we get citation help, et cetera, et cetera. So the goals for today is you'll be aware of citation styles, where they show up, why they exist. You're going to learn about citation generators that happen on the open web and in databases in the library catalog. Citation managers like Zotero I like a lot. And you'll go through a list of common mistakes with me, and we can negotiate this as we go. So the first thing, why do citation styles exist? Do I have homunculus up? Oh, we don't. Homunculus. Oh, I misspelled it. Blast. Homunculus. So way back in the day, 1400s, there was a scholar, I use that term lightly, there's somebody who said, oh yeah, I made a tiny human out of the putrefied, warm, fermenting horse dung. And I don't know what went on, but it's part of alchemy where they were trying to use chemistry to make gold and stuff like that. Totally disgusting, but it's kind of like, yeah, we made giants and dwarves and other marvels, but you can't see them. And it's kind of like scholars would be just like, well, so it's like you made something, but there's no proof of it. So citations come along where you can look up their sources. So a big part of the modern day is scholarly discourse and scholarly conversation. When I read a citation list, which in a weird way I've come to really enjoy, is I go through a citation list. Let me show you an example. I'll go through a citation list that a student has handed something in, and I'll go, oh, there's a review of conceptual issues, and there's a framework that was published in 2021. I need to look at that. And it's kind of like you are in on a conversation with me and the faculty and some other students, and you're bringing ideas and lenses that we might not have considered, or they're help validating what we're already doing. So when you do a paper and you're handing in something that needs to be cited, don't think of it as being right or wrong as you hand it in, but think of it as something that's going to further the conversation that we're all going to have when we consider things from your point of view. That's a big, heavy concept in academia, so don't be weighed down too much. So citation styles, we have over time, so journals used to be like isolated. And so we'd have all the electrical engineering journals, this IEEE is a style. They would all have one style, and librarians and electrical engineers would just collect those. And it was kind of a silo or a bubble, if you will. But these days, here's Modern Language Association, here's American Psychological Association. But these days, we look at them and there's a lot in common. There's like the author, is really important. The date's important. The source, maybe the page number is not as crucial. The volume number and issue number, or issue and volume, sorry, that's a big deal. And sometimes we have this link directly to the source where the publisher hosts it. These are all great things because when somebody's reading your paper and there's like an inline citation, you can like open up a new tab and look at that. And it's like, oh, so that's why they picked that. Oh, that's fascinating. So you don't have to represent everything. You're bringing it into the conversation and people can look it up. And so it's not like that homunculus anymore where it's just taking your word for it, but everybody's kind of sifting through the puzzle together. Okay, so why we cite. Part of it's like being polite. Part of it's like ethics. So you can be accused of plagiarism if you don't cite something properly. That's a big, big deal. So don't put too fine a point on the plagiarism. But in my idea, what really encourages it is that conversation. And everything can be cited, from somebody yelling on the street corner to a blog to YouTube video. So if you're unstuck, you have my email address. Reach out to me. I'm here to help, and your instructor as well. Okay, so how do we cite something? I have this. Let me show you how to use the library catalog briefly. So here we have the title of an article from the Journal of Experimental Education. That sounds A little frightening. With electricity. If you look for something in the library catalog, if you have the title of a textbook, chapter, book, if you look in quote marks, it will look for that whole thing. And it'll break it up into books, articles. I want the articles. And it should sort it up to the top. Da-da-da. First way to cite something. Okay, this isn't the first way to cite something. You could look it up on Google and see if there's a citation generator. So the citation machine, Scribber. But let's see what happens if we put this article in citation generator and then we put that whole thing in. Oh, it just goes to Grammarly. Okay, maybe like Bard or ChatGPT would have an automatic citer. Be that as it may, back to the library catalog, there's a little citation generator right here. If we want to go to one of the databases, so I'm going to click on full text available and it'll show me library databases. I'll go to this one. These all have citation generators, or for the most part. There's like a few that are holdouts that are like, we don't want to update our background code. So if you go to detailed record in this one, there's a citation generator right there. And it'll give you a passable, but sometimes problematic. So we'll talk about these problematic capital letters in just a smidge of time. You can also go to, if you're really wanting to find the real deal, if you go to APA style, again in that library catalog, you can go to books, and we buy books on APA style all the time. So you can double check. A lot of these are ebooks. APA style simplified. Here's the publication manual. I was going to say the dictionary is the most boring book, but this one has it beat by quite a bit. Back in the day, we used to have a copy of that. It was just like, oh, I have to go into that. But it's handy. What's another one? Oh, there's a citation manager. Let's look at a citation manager. Say, for example, we have an instructor who says, I need you to do inline citations, and I need you to do a reference list. And my first reaction is panic. So an inline citation for APA style looks like this. If you go to an article and go into that PDF full text, you'll see examples of it in APA cited articles. See, there's an inline citation right there. But if you go down to the bottom, you can see a reference list down here. And that looks so boring and so forgotten. But do remember that faculty and librarians love reading those reference lists. So they're like, how on earth did you come to that conclusion? And then we'll go, very good. So here's a reference list that we'll go over in a minute. But how do you generate these things? This one doesn't happen automatically. You just grab a quote and then put it in your text, right? So you're citing a direct quote or a paraphrase. And then this one goes at the bottom in your reference list. How do you do those inline citations? There is a database, a mini database called Zotero. This is a citation manager. Citation generator is something that just spits out automatically for you. Citation manager saves all of them for you. So Zotero, if you go, ask me if you want more info on Zotero. There's a lot of YouTube videos too. It's not a difficult thing. But there's three pieces. There's the online cloud component where you make an account. There's this, the client side. And then there's also a web browser that'll plug in that you can grab and you can cite. Well, it'll grab metadata off of everything. Do you see this on the right? All of this is metadata. Metadata is what the item type is, what the title is, what are the authors, abstract, issue, date, number, and things like that. Excuse me, that can be arranged in any number of ways. So if I did a Control A, if I right click on this, or on a Mac it would be Control click. If I create bibliography, I can choose a style, and I can choose if it's inline citations or bibliography, and it saves it to the desktop, or the, what do you call it, the clipboard, and then you can spit out all those citations right there. It's just shocking The first time I did this, I was like, the world has changed, man. You can also do individual ones. And for this one, let's do, oh, that's our same, no, that's a different one. Let's do an inline citation in APA style. And that one looks like this. So if you ever, this one has very little and always refers to like something at the bottom. So never do one of these unless you have a citation at the bottom so people could look it up. There is another one called Noodle Tools. So in the Marriott Library, we have databases where you can find all these articles that we've been showing. One of them, under the letter N, Noodle, is Noodle Tools. This is an excruciatingly detailed way where it'll ask you, well, what's the author? What's the second author? And you fill it in laboriously. Zotero is kind of like quick and dirty. What are some of the problems that we run into with citation generators? Sometimes they have mistakes. So let's go through and look at some of the mistakes that we have. So first of all, your faculty and I will see this and will automatically go, oh yeah, that's a book. Sometimes you cite a chapter in a book. Sometimes you cite a page in a book. It's kind of interpretable. If you do due diligence and cite everything that you can, this one's missing the publisher and the city of publication. So naughty Dale that was omitted. Some of these citation generators won't give you all of that data. This one looks pretty correct. You can see that it's a scholarly article because it's in a journal with a volume and issue number. Here's our first problem in highlight is, do you see up here where it says review of conceptual blah, blah, blah? It's lowercase. When you're scanning all of these really quickly, these capitalizations really stop you up. And it will also say large public university. If you capitalize that, then it infers that there's an institution called large public university. That'd be a great t-shirt. So those need to be lowercase. Let's go on to another one. Oh, sometimes they'll put in web coding, HTML, XHTML. So look out for stuff like that. I don't know if that's an ampersand or what the heck that is. Oh, and this, that's like the name of our catalog in the background. So if there's like weird stuff, write to me and say, Dale, this looks really weird. I'll be like, yeah, that's weird, delete it. Or you can work with your faculty. So just because it shows up from a citation generator doesn't mean it's good. Here's another one that doesn't have enough info. Again, there's no page number. There's no publisher. The publisher is really important. If it's Oxford University Press, the librarian breathes a sigh of relief and go, yeah, that's the top of academic press. If it's TMZ, I'm like, oh, I need to tell them, pick something better. This one's all caps. You can't do that. That's shouting. Here's another one where it's in performance metrics. It's like, well, it's italicized in one moment, not the other. This means it's a chapter in a book. Not as common, but if you have something where you're like, where is that word coming from? Email me, talk to your instructor. Conference proceedings, those are something that can be cited, but they're hard to get a hold of sometimes. But it's best to do due diligence, because if you didn't cite this because it was too hard to cite, that means you came up with the content that is being used. Then you run into plagiarism, then you have to talk to the dean, and oh, it gets awful. Here's another one where the capitalization is bad. Okay, do you get the idea? This has been Dale the Librarian. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I am here for you.